It's not often that I come across a story where I feel like there is absolutely zero merit whatsoever and then happily proven wrong. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown here by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, hanging out with you on today's episode. And if you are seeing the headline, yes, you're reading it correctly. Did the Broncos almost sign Shedeur Sanders? At first, I thought there was absolutely no way. But there might be a little bit more legs to this story than I gave it credit for initially. So this was the tweet that came out from Thor. Heard something interesting yesterday. On day 3 of the NFL draft, the Broncos believed they had an agreement in principle with Shedeur Sanders on a UDFA contract were he to go undrafted. Denver was excited about adding Sanders to the quarterback room. There's a lot to unpack there. Now, Shedeur Sanders is a polarizing prospect and a polarizing player, whether you want to agree with it or not. The truth is that Sanders, the player, has the chops to be an NFL starter, in my opinion. On the other hand, the baggage that comes along with him as a person right now in his career is so great. I was all over the place when it came to the Shedeur Sanders coverage. Sandwich coverage. That's pretty funny. But the way that I think a little bit about Sanders here is, do you want to have a headache in your quarterback room regardless of where he's starting? Or regardless of his place, I should say, on your roster. Now, like I said before, Sanders, the prospect, there's a lot to like about him. He's an incredibly accurate quarterback. He's got great mechanics and strong football IQ. He's a willing and able quarterback to slide up and around the pocket and make moves happen while he's doing so. The couple negative sides about Shedeur as a prospect and as a football player: one, his size. He's kind of slight. And two, he's got a weak arm. So is there an opportunity, or is there a situation where he has success as an NFL starting quarterback? Sure, of course. There is too much to like about his tangibles when it comes to playing from inside the pocket. But then you get into the intangibles. And then you get the things surrounding his dad and what he said at the combine and all of the fluff before the draft started. And that, to me, is just an absolutely insane recipe for disaster. So the Broncos clearly had a plan where they believed Shedeur would have been an excellent backup to Bo Nix. But then obviously Cleveland decided to throw a monkey wrench in that whole situation, and they went and they drafted him in round 5. Now, their draft was actually really good. For the 5th round that you got Shedeur, it's an excellent value pick. But I loved Mason Graham. I love Quinshon Judkins. The Dillon Gabriel was a little bit of a question mark there, considering you did take Shedeur in round 5, but my guess is Cleveland didn't think that he was going to be there in round 5. Now, we can compare the two side by side and say, well, who's going to win out QB2 in that room? Because in my opinion, Joe Flacco is going to be your week 1 starter. So let's just break it down from both of these players as prospects. Dillon Gabriel has played like 1 million games in college football. These were his 2024 stats. They were awesome. Same with Shedeur. So both of these players play very similarly. They're both a little bit undersized. They both have weaker arms. They both need to put on a little bit more weight. And they're both thriving inside of the pocket and distributing the ball to the playmakers. It's clear that both of them are traditional point guards playing quarterback. Not the new age NBA player that's all scoring. These are guys that are going to dish the ball out to their playmakers and let the rest fall where it may. But I'm so happy that we did not get Shedeur Sanders. I'm so happy we didn't sign Shedeur Sanders. Because the truth is, you cannot have a backup quarterback leading your headlines. And of course, listen, the Broncos weren't going to bring him in to compete with Bo. That's beyond idiotic. Sean Payton and George Payton knew what they were getting there. And to me, they were saying, look, as a kid who has enough talent to start at the NFL position, who might need a little bit more time to develop in maturity, he can come and learn behind Bo, and God forbid Bo go down in any game, you would have someone that could step in immediately over the likes of a guy like Jarrett Stidham and win football games. That's the main objective as a backup quarterback. You have to be able to go in and win football games, not make mistakes, execute the game plan, distribute the ball where it needs to be made, and just manage the game. Backup quarterbacks are the ultimate game managers. And we saw last year that Bo has both the game managing style, but also the ability to go out and make plays happen when he needs to, especially with his legs. So I'm going to ask you this. Would you have been happy signing Shedeur Sanders? This feels kind of like a rhetorical question, does it not? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm saying no. And the reason I'm saying no is because of what I just said to you just a couple seconds ago, a couple minutes earlier, I should say. You cannot have a backup quarterback leading your headlines, because then the rest of the locker room is full of chaos and the head coach loses control of the football team because the media steps in and they start directing all of the questions around, well, did you bring him in to start? Did you bring him in to compete to start? When's Shedeur going to play? So let me know in the comments section below. All right. One player I am happy that we signed and drafted is Sheuder Barron, our round 1 pick. So here's what I did. I took this link right here and I put it in the comments and the description of today's video. If you want to support Sheuder and the Denver Broncos heading into the 2025 NFL season, do me a favor, start your Fanatics journey with this jersey link right here in the comments and description of today's video. And thank you, Fanatics, for sponsoring today's video. Also, Deion didn't do him any favors, right? I remember reading a quick little story about an interview that he did, and this was with USA Today, and they were talking about Shedeur's fall, and here's what Deion had to say. After all of everybody saying, hey, there needs to be a maturity around this situation, Deion doubles down and says it's silly to us. Most of it's laughable. What I told him is, son, what I've learned in my life is when it doesn't make sense, it's God. Because some of this stuff is so stupid, it doesn't make sense. That means God is closing doors and opening doors to make sure that you get where you're supposed to go. And I have a lot of respect for someone that sticks to their morals and their religious foundation. But the first part of that makes me question a lot of things. It's laughable. It's laughable to you, Deion? Because here's the reality of the situation. If Denver were to sign Shedeur, they're also signing you. Because you are such a big figure, such a polarizing figure. And also, by the way, you're in the state of Colorado coaching the Buffaloes. So if you were to sign Shedeur, not only are you getting Shedeur's attitude and Shedeur's mess, but you're also getting Deion the dad. And you know the media is going to be all over Deion Sanders and trying to get his perspective on the Broncos. And that is another thing that you can't happen. It's one thing if you brought Shedeur in as your starting quarterback to get Deion as the dad, but as a backup, it's ludicrous. It's absolutely insane. So I'm very happy that this didn't happen. And I do wish Shedeur Sanders the best of luck. Like I told you before, this is not a knock on Sanders the player. I think he's got the chops to do it at the next level. I don't know that he'll ever be the playmaker of Jaden Daniels or a Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, or Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes. But I do see him being a starting quarterback in the NFL. So I'm going to end the episode with this, and this should be, you should have two answers for this, really. For the old heads, I think you know this one. Name your favorite all-time Broncos quarterback. It's got to be John Elway. But if you're a little bit younger, maybe even younger than me, you're probably too young to remember Elway. So I'm going to say your favorite would probably be Payton Manning. It could be Bo Nix, too, for the really young kids. That's going to do it on today's episode of the Broncos Breakdown here by Chat Sports. Remember to subscribe, like the video, share this with a Broncos fan in your life. We're trying to grow the channel. Thank you so much for 35,000, and we will see you next time. My name is Moose. Be cool.